We begin your 7 o'clock hour continuing to follow that breaking news impacting your morning commute. We just heard from Mike Sanford, our Broncos analyst, was stuck in a lot of that. He said it's pretty messy out there. So thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Chavez.
And I'm Erica Lopez in for Corey Rose this morning. We've got a twofold situation. They're both very close to each other as well, so it's not great. 84th Avenue has been closed since we got on the air talking traffic. It's closed between Grant and Conifer because of a hazmat situation. 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez has been following this morning. They've identified where that leak has come from, and you just got more new information, Brianna.
So crews were able to go inside of that FedEx truck, and they noticed that there was 5 total totes inside. So one of them was leaking. We know each tote has about 300 gallons of hydrochloric acid. One of them was leaking. Again, that is the only tote that was leaking inside of that FedEx truck. So let me just kind of show you and set the scene for you for those heading out the door taking 84th Avenue this morning. So 84th Avenue has been shut down since about 4 a.m. this morning, and crews got the first call just before 2 a.m. But of course, traffic at that time is so light. So here's what we know. The totes are secured and sitting on the floor inside of that FedEx truck. There was around 50 to 75 gallons of product inside of that one tote that was leaking. The good news is that it's no longer leaking, according to crews. What crews will be doing now is separating the trailer to get machinery inside and unload the totes. So FedEx truck was making a delivery to Wyoming. The driver noticed something was leaking in front of his trailer, so the driver pulled over on a safe place on the on-ramp of I-25 heading southbound. Crews arrived on scene and they noticed that there was a very small leak. So those 5 totes, again, are inside that FedEx truck. They're laying on the floor, and crews are just thankful that the driver pulled over and noticed the leak right away.
These totes are reported that they are sitting flat on the floor of the semi-trailer. They're not stacked. They were reportedly secured to the walls of the trailer, and so we're not quite sure why or how one is leaking at this point. They just loaded the trailer this morning, and so it's kind of an anomaly on why one is all of a sudden leaking in there. So they're sitting flat on the floor of the trailer, and we've got to determine why what happened and why it's leaking now.
Yeah, so according to crews, they tell me that there was no injuries, so that is some good news. The leak already stopped. We have the cleanup crews here on scene, and some good news. I just spoke to fire crews. They're telling me that fire crews are wrapping up here along 84th Avenue, and they hope to reopen 84th Avenue in the next 45 minutes, but that still means that they have to clean up this area, the on-ramp of southbound I-25. So that means that they won't reopen that area until 4 hours from now. They say that the cleanup process could take about 4 to 5 hours. So again, southbound on-ramp, you won't be able to get through, and hopefully 84th Avenue can reopen here very, very soon. I am seeing crews pick up everything that they have here on scene. So we're going to keep you updated both on air as well as online. For now, let's send things over to our traffic anchor, Erica Lopez, with all the details that we have, because this area is very busy all throughout the morning.
You're exactly right, Brianna. We both know it very well, and that's why we've had a traffic impact alert issued this morning for not just the hazmat situation, which you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. CDOT working to zoom in again to just where Brianna is. But the left-hand side of your TV screen is a wreck that we're dealing with on I-25 southbound in North Glen at 104th Avenue, just a few exits behind 84th this morning. So if you're just joining us or if you've been with us, at one point it was a split scene crash where we had the left express lane blocked and then right lanes blocked as well. It does look like crews have finally been able to move everything over to that right-hand side of the interstate, so we do have a couple more lanes open and moving on southbound I-25 in North Glen, because at one point at 84th, we only had one center lane open and moving. Right-hand side of your screen is 84th Avenue. You can see that FedEx truck that Brianna was just talking about. That hazmat situation has been ongoing since before we got on the air this morning, and right now no estimated time as to when 84th will reopen. Not only is 84th closed, but you cannot get onto I-25 from 84th on the southbound side. Let's show you where these all are on our map this morning. So the 104th Avenue crash in North Glen is causing a 15-minute backup on southbound I-25. Workarounds, Huron Street and Washington Street. They run parallel to the interstate. Now, if you're getting on the interstate at 104th or Thornton Parkway, look at all that green. You are good to go. It's just behind it that there are issues. Now, I will say, 84th closure. I think maybe we're just moving on to Katie now, and we'll talk a little bit more about traffic coming up. Hey, Katie.
Hey, Erica. Thank you. Yeah, we'll get back to you in just a moment. Let's talk about the forecast because we are bracing for a lot of impacts in the weather department with the approach of our next front. But this morning, all is partly sunny, very mild temperatures starting off in the 50s here in town. We will quickly see conditions turn from fall to winter in the mountains, really just through the day on Tuesday before we dry out and warm up through the middle and end of the week. So bracing for our next significant storm system set to arrive with the approach of our front later on this afternoon. Clouds and winds increase here today. Scattered thunderstorms and showers develop after 2 o'clock, so wet weather is ahead, and then widely scattered showers are likely for this time tomorrow. Damp conditions, chilly temperatures ahead with temperatures in the 70s this afternoon and only in the 50s for highs tomorrow. It is now 54 degrees, partly sunny skies, winds are calm, so no big weather impacts this morning, but this time tomorrow things will really shift. In terms of our temperatures out the door, we're in the 30s and 40s in the mountains and 50s across the plains. A high of 77 expected for today in Denver. That's pretty seasonal for this time of the year. Winds will be gusting up to 30 miles per hour at times, and we do have the risk of seeing a few severe warned thunderstorms over the far eastern plains. Burlington down through Lamar and La Junta could see a few of these cells capable of producing damaging winds and hail, but over the I-70 corridor here in Denver and I-76 and a big portion of the state for tonight. Scattered thunderstorms, widespread rain likely for the metro area through the day tomorrow, and even some accumulating snow. We'll look ahead at our rain and snow totals for the mountains coming up in your full forecast.
All right, Katie, thank you. We have a heads up for anyone driving along I-25 this week. A series of overnight ramp closures are scheduled between now and Tuesday. Crews are working on a new pedestrian bridge over I-25 in Douglas County. CDOT says this week's work includes barrier installation and lane restriping between C-470 and Ridgegate Parkway. Lane widths will be reduced to 11 feet for the next several months. Delays are expected between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. between now and Tuesday. The area cuts through Lone Tree and its city center area. All closures only occur overnight, and roads will reopen by 6 a.m. the following morning.
Today kicks off Budget Week in the Mile High City. The Denver City Council will hear a series of budget hearings where different agencies will present their budgets, explain their programs, and discuss spending needs. This is also an opportunity for council members to ask questions about the proposals. There will be no committee meetings this week because of the budget hearings. There are agendas and items, though, that will automatically move forward during this time.
Also happening today, Michael Bennett is going to unveil his plan to tackle Colorado's housing crisis. Bennett will outline his vision for how Coloradans will have access to affordable housing while protecting open spaces. He is expected to make that announcement at 10:15 this morning.
Colorado House Republicans have chosen who's going to serve as the state's new minority leader. Representative Jarvis Caldwell of Monument got the job. He won 12 out of the 20 votes cast. This follows former minority leader Rose Puglisi, who resigned last week over what she called a toxic atmosphere at the state legislature. She also said the recent tragedies like the Evergreen school shooting and Charlie Kirk's murder made the decision necessary. Caldwell's appointment comes as Republicans are divided on whether to move to the center or embrace MAGA politics.
As thousands gathered for Charlie Kirk's memorial, the nation faces tough questions on free speech. Kirk was an advocate for free speech protections, but in the wake of his death, there are some new concerns, from the suspension of ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel to new rules at the Pentagon. ABC indefinitely pulled Kimmel's show off air following his comments about Republicans' response to Kirk's murder. That led to criticism from the FCC chairman and suggestions of potential action involving the network's license. President Trump has since made similar comments. Lawmakers in both parties have weighed in.
FCC was wrong to weigh in, and I'll fight any attempt by the government to get involved with speech.
Censorship and what we're seeing from the federal government only serves to further divide us and make us less safe.
The Defense Department also has new restrictions that journalists can no longer gather or report information, even unclassified, without authorization from the government or risk losing their press credentials. The National Press Club called it a direct assault on independent journalism. While Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth argued, quote, "The press does not run the Pentagon, the people do."
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he will meet with President Donald Trump this week on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. The talks come as U.S.-Russian tensions rise after Moscow sent jets into Estonian airspace and flew drones over Poland and Romania. Trump says the U.S. will defend NATO allies, including the Baltic states and Poland if necessary. Under NATO's Article 5, an attack on one member is an attack on all. The UN Security Council is meeting today at Estonia's request.